All right, my next question is from Lori, and she wants to know if you could explain who Melchizedek is in Genesis 14. And I hope you spelled that right, Lori, because that's how I'm putting it on the screen.
Just to give it to you in the passage, so that people know what we're talking about. In Genesis chapter 14, Abraham is going to rescue Lot. Lot is his nephew, and the guy ends up getting caught up in a battle where some kings come in and fight against Sodom and Gomorrah, and they take Lot captive. And so Abraham goes on a rescue mission with a bunch of his men, and after they rescue Lot and the people of Sodom, they're coming back. And it says, let's see, verse 17, the king of Sodom went out to meet him at the valley of Shaveh. That is the king's valley after his return from the defeat of Kedorlaomer and the kings who were with him. Then Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought out bread and wine. He was the priest of God Most High. And he blessed him and said, "Blessed be Abram of God Most High, possessor of heaven and earth, and blessed be God Most High, who has delivered your enemies into your hand." And he, talking about Abraham, gave him a tithe of all. And then the passage goes on. And that's the only mention that we have in this passage about Melchizedek. Later on, he's mentioned in the book of Psalms as a priestly order. When you get to the New Testament, he's pictured in the book of Hebrews as a type of Christ. And so in the book of Hebrews in chapter 7, verses 1 through 10, you have that passage. And so who's Melchizedek? I think Melchizedek is a real guy. I think, in the passage, it says he's the king of Salem. That is the previous name of the city of Jerusalem. The Salem comes from shalom in Hebrew, and it means peace. And Jerusalem means the city of peace. And so he's the king of Jerusalem at the time that Abraham was living in the area. He's also called the priest of the Most High God. And that's kind of weird to think about, because usually when we think about people during the time of Abraham, we think of Abraham being the only guy who really knows God. And the rest of the people really don't know God, and kind of like God's just dealing with Abraham alone. And one of the things that you have to remember is that when you're looking at the chronology of the Bible and the genealogies, that everybody got off the same boat. They all got off the boat with Noah. Right. And so some of the sons of Noah, if the chronologies are direct in the book of Genesis, some of the sons of Noah are still alive at this time. And so obviously they're going to be believers, and their immediate family, their children most likely, are going to be believers also. And so you see this later on in the book of Genesis also, when Abraham doesn't want to get a wife from the Canaanites. He specifically wants to send back to his family to get a wife for his son Isaac. And the reason is because of their belief in God. And they're not doing it perfectly, but again, you have this picture. So Melchizedek is a follower of the Lord, and he's a priest of the Most High God. So a king and a priest who gives out bread and wine and receives tithes from Abraham is a great picture of who Jesus is.
Yeah, probably a type.
Yeah, probably a type. And so there are people who think that it's Jesus, but it looks like in the passage we're really talking about the king of Jerusalem. And so I don't have a reason not to go there, but specifically, he is a type of Christ. So,
all right, Lori and Bob, thanks for posting. Hope that answers your question.